Hello, this is Blue Star, Defender of Equestria, and this is my AfterThoughts review of Titanfall 2. Prepare for Titanfall. Okay, I'm ready for Titanfall now. Dear, oh dear, couldn't resist. Yes, it's like, this is gonna be the second of my Blue Star's big three, you know, Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I almost want to call, you know, this series Revenge of the Single Player. We will be avenged! Because I'm glad I wasn't the only one who was like, what? Titanfall 1 doesn't have a single player campaign? But why? Because this is such a cool universe, and there's such possibilities for storytelling. It's just, why not? Why wouldn't you want to have it, you know, to do a single player campaign here? Because it would be so cool and so awesome. And it was. Yes! So yes, I'm so pleased with that. It's almost a whole separate video in itself, is that, you know, the short story is, single player has been mostly ignored or basically kicked to the curb, and it's basically said, it's been declared irrelevant. This game proves that that is not true, because you know what, the last game, one of the big criticisms was, it did not have a single player campaign. This one does, and it was definitely worth it. It was definitely ultimately worth it, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, in some ways, as always, it could have been better, but it was pretty good. You know, it's like, I really like what they tried to do, and I think it almost starts with BT. I'm gonna try to not give away spoilers and stuff during here, and maybe a portion later where I'll go weapons free, and talk about whatever I want. But when I first saw like the trailers and stuff for Titanfall 2, it's like I was almost gonna do a video on this. It's like, the thing I like about him is that he sounds like a computer, but he's got enough of a personality to convince you that this still sounds like a person, so that you care. Because yeah, it's been like, you know, it's like, good morning, Dave. Oh, this mission is too important for me to, for you to jeopardize it, Dave. Sorry. It's like, that's not BT's voice. That sounds too computerish. It's like, I don't know exactly what it is about BT's voice and his performance, but it's like that, it feels much more, it's like, it just simply feels like a computer, but feels like a person do. It almost feels like a person doing a computer voice, which of course is exactly what it is. You know, it's not one of those monotone, boring, I don't really give a I am just executing instructions kind of computer. But at the same time, this is how BT operates. BT is a computer. It's like, BT does follow those commands. He follows those directives, and it's like, you know, Protocol 1, link to pilot. Protocol 2, uphold the mission. Protocol 3, protect the pilot. You know, it's like, he operates by those directives, and I think that's pretty cool. And I must have been slipping into programming mode a little bit. It's like, I was thinking that, oh, each one of these is like, each one is, the first one is always, they follow kind of almost like a hierarchy, starting with the first one, ending with the third one. I think the big, almost, Protocol 2 should be first in that case. But anyways, so like, upholding the mission is more important than protecting the pilot, but protecting the pilot is still important though. So I think that's cool. I like that. And those protocols make sense, you know, and like this thing, and BT operates, and again, I've said this a bazillion times already, but BT simply operates like a machine, but you still care about him because he still has those little moments of like personality that shows that this is not just a computer that's following your instructions. It is actually making its own decisions, its own choices, and ultimately has an impact on you and what happens to you. And they're also, you know, these two pilots, the pilot and the Titan, are a team. Whereas before in the previous game, you know, it was literally, you know, you're the pilot, the Titan's a machine, the Titan does whatever you want it to do and stuff, and you know, there was that sort of disconnect. I mean, there wasn't like, but now they've changed that. Now they're both, you know, Titan and pilot are as one, and they work together as a true team, and I think that's pretty cool, and I like that. And it would make, And it often makes sense. I mean, if you've served on a Navy ship or, or something, you have a particular quote-unquote bond with that particular ship and everybody around you with stuff. So that, that's not just simply, a ship. It's, it sort of reminds me in Babylon 5 where it's like, oh, this is White Star, like 37. But I call it the Maria. It's like, what name is White Star 37 for a ship? It's like, so I unofficially I call it the Maria, and all that, so and everything. So yeah, it does make sense. And even with tankers, it's like, you'll form a bond, quote unquote, a bond with your tank and stuff, and obviously with the people around you too. So I think that actually worked, and it made sense, and it worked really well. And this campaign was pretty interesting. I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing ever. In some ways, it was predictable. I'm gonna say again. I'm not gonna say why. It does feel a little bit predictable, but often because we've seen plots like this before and stuff. And all I'm gonna say is it comes to its logical conclusion, shall we say, and all that. That's all I'm gonna say there. So yeah. But anyway. But there were a lot of surprises and things that I didn't really expect. And I'm going to say is that I did like the way they did their puzzles. And there were a few levels where they did some interesting things that I haven't seen done a lot and haven't been done, or haven't been done very well. But sometimes it's like, there was definitely times like, oh, that is just so evil. I hate you. It's like, yeah, because I'm not really used to this. I think it's parkour stuff. It's basically you're running along the walls, jumping along the walls and stuff. It's like, that was a nice thing. That's definitely something that you don't see in a lot of shooters, because it pretty much goes against the real world modern way of shooting. It's like, basically, if you're not behind something, you are gonna die. It's basically that simple. So yeah, jumping out and running along all these walls and doing all this crazy stuff would not be a good idea in the real world. But unfortunately, it's a video game, so none of that matters. So, but anyway, it's like, yeah. So it does get kind of frustrating from time to time because I'm not used to it. But you get used to it eventually. And sometimes sometimes I am like frustrated. It's like, oh, I don't want to do any more of this wall jumping stuff. Can we just cut to the next part already? And I did enjoy the fact that there are, specifically pilot missions, but there's also specifically Titan missions, or missions where you specifically start off in the Titan and pretty much fight entirely that level in a Titan, which is definitely a part of this game that I really wanted to see a lot more of, because that was definitely something that was because that was obviously something that was missing from the first game, is that you can, obviously when you fight with Titans, you're fighting with other people, not AI. So, and I think the AIs were okay. I mean, I have to kind of agree with the IGN review that the big bosses at the end of certain levels were really not as hard as you would expect them to be, but and all that, but still, it was okay. I mean, but still, I've yet to play it on the master difficulty levels yet, so maybe they'll be super crazy hard then, but we'll see. But still, but yeah. So overall, I liked the campaign, and it was pretty good, and it did have some surprises, but it was still pretty good, and I just simply enjoyed it a lot, and yeah, so I think that's it. So I'm not until I think of something else. So, but yeah, so overall, so it was really great to see the campaign. It was really good. I'm just glad that the campaign made it back, and I think it was just great. Yes! So yes, I'm glad that single player is making a comeback. Yes! It's like, we will be avenged. Yes. So now on to the multiplayer. I didn't spend a lot of time in multiplayer because, like, unfortunately, it's like all these games are coming out pretty much almost all at once. So I had stuff to do on as well. So unfortunately, I couldn't. But anyway, I did play the multiplayer a little bit, and I pretty much like it. It's pretty good. I mean, the one thing I think I do like is that you can basically get credits, and that you can basically buy stuff early. So if you really, I'm pretty sure it works with guns. I know it works with the Titans because I bought one of the Titans early, even though I probably shouldn't have. But yeah, because I was confused about how this works. So yeah, but anyway, you can buy. But if you like this particular gun, you can either wait for level whatever to get it, or you can, if you earn enough credits, can just simply buy it right there and then. You can't buy the specific attachments, which kind of makes sense. And so far, it doesn't seem like getting those attachments is that hard. But I mean, as always, if you just play long enough, you'll probably get them. But But yeah, but I do kind of like that because, the problem is, you know what, some of us don't have, like 20, 30, 40 hours or whatever to grind through games like this to get to level 40 or whatever to unlock this gun. I would love to be able to sit on my butt and play video games all day the way I used to, but I don't have time to do that. Between work and making videos and simply having other video games that I like to play, that I just simply can't do that sometimes. And then it'd be kind of nice to be able to have an option to say, like, okay, yeah, you still have to go and play the game and earn the credits and stuff, but that's fine. That's good. That's good. I mean, it's like, you don't want it to be too easy, but now you can just, but if you want something, if you want a particular weapon or a particular thing, you can, if you get enough credits, you can just simply buy it right there and then, rather than playing for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours unlocking it. So that's good. So you can unlock the stuff you really care about. So that's good. I mean, the flip side of that is that sometimes it might seem like it makes it too easy, but still. And I do like the simplifying of things. It's like, what was it, burn cards, I think it was. I didn't really like those because he kept getting them everything, and it's like, I felt like I don't know what one I want to use, or I don't care, I don't really want to use them, and I just keep, it's just this thing that felt like I just have to keep managing, and I'm glad that they got rid of it. Because yeah, I mean, I think they've also, kind of like Battlefield 1, are kind of, maybe not necessarily like Battlefield, but are trying to simplify things and make things a little bit more straightforward. Yeah, the thing I don't like is, that you don't have the option to pick your weapons as a Titan anymore, which is kind of disappointing. So if you like a particular weapon, you're basically locked into whatever that Titan's abilities are. Like I unlocked, I think it was the Tone, or whatever it is, the Ton, or whatever it is, whatever it is, the thing with the cannon. Because I love the 40mm cannon. Yeah, that's definitely my kind of weapon. But unfortunately, you can't pick any of the other. You can't pick a Titan chassis and then equip the cannon. You have to basically. You have like a number of Titan chassis that you could pick, and they have their own predefined weapons, so it's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, this helps a lot in multiplayer, because when you see that thing that says what this kind of Titan is, you know what you're up against. You're not going to have to worry, okay, it's this chassis with any one of like 5 different weapons. It's like, I don't know, it could be a sniper, it could be a shotgun, it's like, I don't know what I'm facing here. But now you know exactly what you're facing and what Titan and what abilities the Titan has, and so that you can plan what you're going to do and everything more effectively. And I think that's that's definitely going to be a major plus. And generally, I think that I was gonna say, like, they seem to perform roughly the same, but I don't know. I haven't had enough time to really try each of them. I do like in the single player campaign that you can just basically effectively pause the game and then pick a Titan class with different weapons and stuff and everything. It does feel kind of a little bit in some ways cheating and almost cheesy, because it's like, I can't imagine this situation and quote unquote realistically making any sense. It's like, okay, I'm going to switch out my Titan's loadout to a completely different one. It's like, I'm going to switch out my assault rifle to like a sniper rifle with like different weapons and all this other stuff. It's like, how are you doing that in the middle of a battle? But I'm honestly not going to complain. Because I really do like that. Because sometimes, yeah, you could do something like, you could pick a weapon that you really like, build up your core, and then switch to a different core of a different chassis that you really want to use and stuff. And it feels like that would be kind of cheesy, but but again, it works, and I do like it. But yeah, obviously you can't do that in multiplayer, and obviously that would be really bad to do that in multiplayer. But yeah, so ironically, you have more options in single player than I think you do in multiplayer, which is kind of interesting. Well, sort of anyway, but anyway. So yeah, but overall, I think the multiplayer is pretty good. I mean, in some ways, I also kind of don't like that you can't pick how your appearance are. Like, if you pick the but again, that's also helping so that you know what abilities that you have. So like, if you pick the cloaking ability, you have like sort of big, like, I don't know, almost like a fursuit, ghillie suit thing. So you can't pick your appearance and stuff, which is kind of frustrating. But again, that helps so that, okay, if you see a guy like that, you know that he's got the cloak ability and that he'll be able to turn invisible. But if this person has this other appearance, you know they have this ability, because that's certainly a problem, is that I have no idea what abilities this person has or doesn't have. So all of a sudden, I could think this person doesn't have the cloak ability, and all of a sudden they do, and then they just disappear. Or, oh, this person has this ability and I'm completely unprepared for it, and oh dear. So yeah, so overall, I think I liked the changes, and I think its multiplayer is okay, and I definitely like the single player. It was definitely a very good campaign. It wasn't the best campaign ever, but it was definitely very good, especially for essentially the first time out. And I'm definitely glad to see single player be back and just making a comeback. Yo! So overall, Titanfall 2 is pretty good, and I like it. Yo! Yes! So I guess that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thank you for commenting, liking, and subscribing, and until next time, this is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.